really bad games, but then some really good games, and we're like, where is this guy right now? I actually don't know how good he is because he's just so all over the place.
Now, Blaze 2-2 in PvP so far, 6-3 overall though, which is very impressive for an MVP player. We don't usually see them perform to this level consistently.
Looking a bit tired today. Not sure what's going on with him. Maybe he was practicing a lot for this match. I'm sure, as you said before, Deer, a very experienced player. Blaze is going to take this guy very seriously.
And here he is, Deer, 12-10. Not a bad stat. You know, he's played a lot. 3-1 versus Protoss. He is a fantastic player, but we have seen him fall kind of surprisingly to a lot of players in the past that we were not expecting.
That one game he played against Flash, we were talking about it even before the game started today. That was the moment where I was like, I don't know if I can put my money on this guy ever again, just because it's so hard. He's just so all over the place at many different times in his career here, for this year at least.
Well, let's see what he's going to do up against this kind of player. It's Cactus Valley, so it's a pretty big map for a PvP. One could go the distance for sure. Let's see how he's going to perform in that later game.
Yep. I don't think Blaze can get away with doing some kind of crazy all-in build once again on this giant map. I think he's been figured out in that sense. But let's see what he's got prepared. Let's see what Deer also has prepared for this big map. Let's jump into game number 2 now on Cactus Valley. Down here in the bottom right in the red for MVP, it's Blaze.
Down here in the bottom left for Samsung, Deer. What can you do, mate? Going to be horizontal spawns, not too far away from each other. Not going to go all the way. But we're going to see, I'm sure we're going to see this PvP make it to 3 bases. I don't know. Unless we see Blaze maybe go for some aggression.
Yeah, I think it's also been a while since we've seen many PvPs end in that early stage where like someone went, you know, a bit of an aggressive build, like some kind of 3-gate blink or something, or 3-gate oracle or something, and the other player was like being very greedy and he just died to it. I think a lot of the Protoss players are getting used to where PvP is at, and they're just like, okay, I can defend and make it towards that late game, but then a lot of these games, I feel, especially at the higher tier, like if you get someone like Zest versus SOS, which we did have recently, I think, you know, usually you see it go pretty long in these PvPs.
I mean, this map for sure. It's such an easy map to go late as well on. Yeah, the builds are a lot more, I guess, stable these days. A lot less build order wins in this matchup compared to what it used to be like. And so far, everything the same.
Yeah, no early gates. Not going to be much early aggression or any early tech, really, from either of these two players. Mirrored builds so far.
Well, what do you think we're going to see as an opening? We have seen Deer play a bunch of PvP in the past. He's pretty actually fantastic at the matchup. I think it must be one of his best matchups right now. I think we could see some Stargate on this map. Wouldn't be too surprised at all. There doesn't look like any proxies.
Yeah, nothing just yet. There's kind of a suspicious pylon so far for Deer in the bottom right of his base. Maybe he'll look to hide some tech back there. It's going to be kind of hard for a probe to get all the way back there and scout when he's got some units.
Yeah, big scout for Blaze to start things off. He chose the right direction, so you see everything that's kind of been lining up for Deer so far.
I know this is Wolf's most hated thing, the 4-player maps. When one player gets lucky with the scout and the other doesn't, it's like, well, you just can't control this. This is just going to happen.
It does happen. It definitely adds an element of, I guess, luck to it, but...
An RNG, man.
That RNG. It's not going to win you the game usually, though, unless you're doing a crazy build.
Yeah. We don't see the probe actually scout that pylon in the bottom right. I don't think he's going to assume it's anything too crazy. And even with that pylon back there, he's going to put the Stargate in the back of his base.
Yeah, look at that. So Stargate going to be starting up for Deer. Blaze, on the other hand, we don't know exactly what he has planned.
Yeah, so far just Mothership Core into Stalker, whereas Deer delaying that Stalker and getting out the Stargate a bit faster.
So probably An Oracle opening for Deer. Perhaps Blaze wants to go into Phoenix just a little bit later. We'll see where they end up.
Yeah, it definitely could be that. This probe actually was rallied from the watchtower actually to a different location. So maybe he's kind of paranoid right now about some proxies, or he's just looking around scouting because, as I said before, he didn't see the pylon in the back of Deer's base.
Yeah, if you're counting pylons, it certainly is a little bit of an alert. Be careful. And Stargate finishing up for Blaze, so we're about to find out, and it is going to be Phoenix. So.
Well, you were talking about how build order wins don't happen too often. This isn't going to be a build order win, but it's definitely going to favor Blaze, especially if he can get that Phoenix out on the map and catch the Oracle before it gets to the base.
I mean, even if it was just waiting at the base, if he just sits here and waits, I mean, the Oracle is going to be forced to commit to try and kill probes, but there's 2 Stalkers as well.
Look at this.
Oh.
This is so unfortunate for Deer.
That is ruthless.
Phoenix going to find it. Oracle has to be sacrificed, but pulling out the units, not even going to get 1 kill. Oh, boy.
Huge advantage there. He's going to have that Phoenix advantage for the rest of the game so long as he keeps producing them. And looks like we're actually going to see Blink now for Deer as the follow-up. Probably better choice than trying to go into air units of his own.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for him to try to, go into Phoenixes, try to catch up in that count or do something like that. And in the meantime, Blaze is going to get out what I would consider a bit of a better tech, get that Robo out, maybe get some Immortals going, and take a pretty early Nexus here.
Yeah, Blaze actually playing very solid so far. But look at this, a proxy pylon, 3 Stalkers just got whooped in. With Blink on the way like this, could see some pretty effective aggression. And, I mean, if these Phoenix are out of position for Blaze as well, a lot of trouble there.
Oh, look at that. He had enough minerals, but he was actually just microing his Phoenixes back at the base of Deer. Kind of unfortunate. So he gets it blocked by a pylon. Ugh.
Oh, man.
And it also gets scouted when he knew that Blaze wanted to take that Nexus.
Yeah, a lot of information just got revealed there. And first Immortal on the way. And it's going to be a Nexus for Deer as well.
And no Nexus for Blaze. Is he just delaying that, trying to get out a Immortal because he saw the Blink on the way and maybe he's saying, okay, I just have to be a bit safe?
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Probably with that pylon that went down in the natural as well. It's like, well, how aggressive are you actually being? I got to be a little bit more careful here, especially with Phoenix out of position.
Blink only finishing up now. Deer also getting his own Nexus up here, a bit faster than Blaze. But Blaze going to have that better tech. I think this game should normalize. It looks like Blaze is in a slightly better position in terms of army composition. A lot of Stalkers made here for Deer. But, maybe he'll go for some Blink Harass, try to pull himself back in that number.
Always that threat of, and that level of contain you get with Blink Stalkers as well. You can't commit too much onto the map for longer than you'd want. So it does give him that space, that breathing room to comfortably get into that Robo and get his natural up and running.
Do you see the Forge timing coming down here for Deer? He feels safe. So does Blaze. Going to come down around the same time.
Yeah, how about that? 920 Forges for both. Some more and more Immortals coming out for Blaze here. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see Deer just go straight for Colossus. Maybe add some Immortals in a bit later. Wants to get out that much later tech. It's all about
go for it.
Yeah, it really just comes down to that composition and that Colossus count in the late game more than anything else.
Yeah, Blaze is going to commit to 3 Immortals. So he definitely wants to bolster his army composition just a bit. The Immortals, if they can get into a good position and they're not just attacking Zealots, can really help out in a big fight a little bit later on. But of course, foregoing those Colossi for quite a bit so far in this game. Immortal going to be made here for Deer at first.
Okay. Essentially just making the same sort of army here. Yeah, both going for the base. So despite how different these build orders were and these openings were, they're kind of ending up in the same place in terms of upgrades and tech. It's kind of funny to see.
These 3 Phoenixes still out on the map. Can always find just a bit of harass damage here and there.
Game is certainly stabilized at this point, Valdez. I think we're going to see it go to 3 bases very shortly as well.
This is what you were talking about, Moonlay. This is a gigantic map, one of the biggest we have in the pool, and seeing this end very, very early is very, very rare.
It's such a risk trying to commit, especially in a mirror match like this, to fight at someone else's base this far away from each other with nearly the same kind of armies. You're never really going to find an advantage that way unless the build orders early on gave you an advantage.
Nice observer catch there by Deer. I think Blaze made 1 extra observer, so he will have that on the map still. Yeah, he's got 1. Deer, though, having 2. Looks like Deer thinking about this 3rd base first. Nice little proxy pylon right outside the range of that Nexus. Could sending some Zealots eventually once he spots that 3rd base coming up.
Yeah, it could be dangerous if he's not paying attention to it. Doesn't look like let's commit to it there. Stalker's sitting around there like that. Huh. Interesting use of the photon overcharge there for a hallucination.
Not so sure about that one. Bit of an overreaction, you could say.
Never really want to do that. I guess it stops you from scouting, but if they're going the same sort of tech and it's been scouted already, what's the point?
This pylon does get scouted, by the way. And 3 more probes going to go down, but he does lose a Phoenix. Just going to commit to the damage. I guess he's saying, you know, these Phoenix not going to do much a bit later on in the game. I'm eventually going to want to get rid of them anyway. They're just going to take up supply, so I might as well try to get a bit ahead in economy here.
I still think they have a pretty good use if they can actually use them to lift up immortals during a fight. Like that's a pretty handy sort of ability to have. It really reduces the damage and reduces the threat on your own Colossus and Stalkers.
Yeah. Can also, I guess, kind of zone against the Mothership Core just a bit. You know, maybe take it out a bit earlier than you would like. But maybe he's saying, you know, Deer's got blank already. I'm not going to be able to keep these alive for very long.
Here we go.
Not so sure.
Do see some pressure on the map finally. It looks like Blaze is going to move out for now. Now that 3rd base is up and running for him, apply some pressure, maybe force units out. Deer would not want to make. Beyond that, it doesn't look like much of a committal to a fight.
Yeah. He's got a decently scary army with these 3 Immortals. He's also going to have a 3rd Colossus pop out here. Charge on the way much faster for Deer. Blaze only starting it now. He's also got the earlier Archons, just slightly.
Yeah. Actually, I do like where Deer is at. Oh, how Deer took that 3rd base. You got that 5th and 6th gas a lot faster, and I feel like that is pretty important in this matchup. You really want those gas units, especially Colossus and Archons. Ooh, another Stargate.
Uh-oh. Looks like we're going to see a bit of a switch here for Deer.
Tempest boys.
Yeah.
I do like this.
I think he stopped at 3 Colossi. No, 4, actually. Stopping at 4 Colossi.
Yeah, you do have... I guess you do have the room to really get to this point as well. There's no real threat in the map. Blaze is not being aggressive at all. He's gearing up for his own sort of aggression, but it's not going to be coming just yet. Maybe when that Dark Shrine is finished.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. He's going to be going for a Zealot drop and maybe warp in some DTs with that Dark Shrine on the way. Like Stalker's coming over here trying to get some harass down. Should be able to take out this the cannon and go for some probes.
Nice little bit of harassment. I mean, Stalkers at this point are getting pretty redundant, and you want that supply eventually to max out with some decent composition.
Look at this. The Warp Prism's going to fly by in the night right next to each other. Not sure if Deer was paying attention. There's only 1 cannon there for Blaze, and I remember there was 1 cannon in the main for Deer.
Yeah, 2 more going down for Deer in the main as well. I think he did spot it, so he's like, okay, I got to be a little careful with that coming my way.
Zealot's being warped in here, but here is the Warp Prism coming in for Blaze. We'll see if he can get some similar damage.
Oh, Blaze actually posturing really nicely outside the natural as well. He's got the top of the ramp here. Really creating some chaos here.
He's looking for that fight. The Colossi looking for the damage. The Archon's getting right on top of the Colossi of Deer. 2 of them already going down.
Oh my god, this is complete disaster for Deer. Completely got out of position.
Like you said before, the posturing there from Blaze, he got a fantastic position, and Deer was just not ready for that at all.
He was completely distracted, whether it be from his Stalker harassment, his Warp Prism drop. Hard to say, but man, he really threw that one away.
Oh, yes, he did. Blank not only just now started, but with only 2 Tempests and no support, I don't think it's really going to matter here for Deer.
No, it looks like Deer is giving it up. I mean, throwing that Colossus into melee range. From here on out, it's about shutting down the rest of the economy. The third gone, now the natural about to be gone. Nothing left over for Deer.
Yep, that should be it. Deer talking to himself on the booth. Should not be happy with this game so far. GG. MVP going to take their first win. Blaze not looking too surprised with that one.
Blaze looking fantastic. Really impressive play. He's really come to his own with this name change. He's a new man, and his PvP is sick.
I don't know what it is. Usually when you get that name change, players get worse, but we're seeing the opposite here from Blaze.
I guess it wasn't really a new start for him.
Yeah.
Great to see.
Very happy.
And for Deer, I got to say, man, that was an embarrassing show. To get caught out like that is kind of baffling.
Yeah.
He should have been aware of what's on the map. And to get his Colossus jumped on top of like that and wiping his army out, kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Definitely not the best play from Deer. I think he knows it as well. He is looking very, very frustrated with himself right now. You know, that's part of the, frustrating part of StarCraft. You get just slightly out of position. You're not paying attention for 1 or 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden, you lose everything. Blaze takes you down. Game 3 is going to be Gumiho versus Journey, a TVT, another mirror matchup.
I'm actually really looking forward to that one too, Valdez. A nice TVT. Gumiho and Journey, this great player. He's getting better and better.
Well, guys, we're going to take a 3-minute break before we get to that. Stay tuned.